Organised and absolutely ruthless. Detective Alsop used those words in 2938 to summarise the first Nine Tails attack, an incident that left 28 Terror police officers dead. Despite the heavy toll on law enforcement, only one of the assailants was found dead on the scene. Wearing gear marked with a snake entwined with the number 9, the then unknown symbol circulated widely before an informant identified it as belonging to a mysterious new gang calling themselves the Nine Tails. Since then, numerous reported heists and attacks have been linked to the group with increasing scope and frequency over time. Despite their growing reputation, little is known publicly about the gang or its inner workings, making the group's meteoric rise to power only more worrisome to organised crime experts. Today, the Nine-Tail Gang operates almost exclusively within the Stanton system, using the infamous derelict space station known among locals as Grim Hex as its headquarters. Grim Hex, a former green Imperial housing exchange used by miners working the asteroid belt encircling Yella, Grim Hex is technically owned by the Crusader Industries. They acknowledge the Nine-Tails' presence, but claim the gang isn't their issue alone, and refuse to wrestle control of Grim Hex away from the gang unless aided by the advocacy or the system's other governing megacorps. According to a 2950 Crusader statement, piracy within the Stanton system needs to be addressed as a whole, when other jurisdictions sit only a quick QT away. As the influence of the Nine Tails criminal organisation expands, investigators continue to try to understand the gang's inner workings. While money appears to be the gang's main motivator, the logic behind some of the Nine Tails operations remains a mystery, leading one organised crime expert to describe the group as credit-craving professional anarchists. The Nine Tails have come to specialise in savage attacks with enigmatic motivations, a deadly and unnerving mixture that goes all the way back to their first attack. Racketeering and piracy were just two of the many corruption charges Albert Sinkhole Holden faced for leading Prime Ragdar's syndicate for over a decade. The notoriety earned him a sentence of solitary confinement in an off-world detention centre, but he wouldn't even make it there. Nine Tails ships swarmed the transport once it was ripped out of QT above Terra. A coordinated attack quickly destroyed all Terra PD ships except the prison transport, which was disabled and then boarded. Utilising expert precision, well-practiced tactics, and the element of surprise, the Nine Tails stormed the transport and killed all police officers aboard. They then freed Holden from the stasis pod and fled. Considering the professional behaviour of the attackers, investigators were surprised that the gang left one of their own, who had been killed in the exchange with the guards. Police initially assumed the unknown snake symbol on their gear was a red herring, as investigators believed the Rangdar syndicate carried out the attack to spring their boss. Yet, a day after the attack, the case took an unexpected turn when Holden was found shot in the head and floating in space. Why the Nine Tails sprung Holden only to execute him later remains a mystery. Weeks passed before the first solid lead came when the snake symbol was spotted by cameras during the hijacking of a caterpillar loaded with valuable resources in Magnus. Over the next several years, the gang became more and more prolific and were linked to incidents in over a dozen systems that involved abductions, murders, robberies, and destruction of personal and private property. Predicting when and where it would strike proved nearly impossible. Then, in early 2942, incidents involving the Nine Tails suddenly stopped. Law enforcement officials secretly hoped internal divisions might have finally ripped the gang apart, but it was only planning its next move. Reports of renewed Nine Tails activity began coming out of Stanton in 2943, accompanied by rumours within the outlaw community that the gang now controlled a defunct housing exchange nestled in Yella's asteroid belt. Before their arrival, squatters and small-time criminals called the ominously nicknamed Grim Hex home. They put up little resistance to the Ninetales takeover. According to sources, anyone who opposed the gang got tossed out of an airlock, while those offering no objection were allowed to stay and potentially prosper. Under Ninetales' control, Grim Hex has become a hub for illegal activity in the Stanton system. With the black market trading and gambling flourishing aboard the station, the gang is also believed to be behind the general rise in crime throughout the sector. It's gotten so egregious that Crusader CEO Kelly Kaplan was called before the Senate to explain the company's security failings. Outside observers have accused Crusader Security of avoiding direct confrontation with the Ninetales out of fear over how the gang would respond. If true, this reinforces just how powerful the gang has become. Why Ninetales transitioned from a highly effective and elusive strike team into a Stanton-based force remains a mystery. Steady credits is the easy answer, but some experts have wondered if the gang might have bigger plans in the works. Recently, the gang proved those experts right by blockading a rest stop with a powerful dampener that made content travel impossible near the station, grinding commerce to a halt in the sector. The Ninetales was so effective that the lockdown was only broken after Crusader Security Director Sasha Rust instituted an emergency recruitment drive to bring security contractors to the Stanton's aid. The Ninetales' motives for this attack remain unknown. Ninetales may now primarily operate in the Stanton system, but it is emblematic of this age of crime. Its quick and calculated rise to power, alongside its ability to keep the gang's inner workings a secret from investigators, only proves how truly dangerous it is.